Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and finally we have a match worth showing. I've been trying to record a good match for the past couple of days, and yeah, just having battles that were largely not worth showing. You know, I just got crushed, I had to go back to the drawing board and rethink. And then I got this match, which I think I did reasonably well at. So Lizardmen, of course, very meta, very powerful. Revivification crystals, of course, very good. Their magic, very strong. And they can go very wide with Skinks, or they can go very high quality with Saurus. You can spam Saurus. You can spam large targets. It can be difficult. It can be very difficult. So I had to think, and I put together an army that I think caters to both the potential for them to go quality heavy with Saurus, but also monster heavy. So this was the build, and yeah, we'll see how it shakes down. You know, a very decisive battle, as you'll see, but that's a good thing. I think that it wasn't too one-sided, and I wouldn't show it if it was, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's an interesting build. I've had this theory about Rakath for a while being a decent choice versus any kind of faction that wants to be bringing just a ton of really large, bulky targets. You know, cavalry, I don't think Rakath does super well against unless he's on a different mount. But what we've decided to go for is the Scourge Runner Chariot. He's going to throw some missiles, see how that does for him. We've also got these bolt throwers, which are going to apply some pressure. And my opponent immediately moves some Skink Skirmishers up into the high ground. He's sort of had the same idea as me, which is take the high ground and sort of fight for the second point. So that's how my army is positioned, to take advantage of that. Bolt Thrower is immediately going to start putting work into the Carnosaur, but then I switch to Mazdamundi as he comes into range. We move Rakath up. I'm going to try my best to micro him as well as do everything else with my army, and I think that's the biggest weakness of this style of play, is it is very micro intensive. So I'm throwing some bolts. Looks like I'm throwing them at the Carnosaur. Already taken some hits, but I'm moving away. I'm getting skirmished by the Skink Cav, and I give him an order to run away. But you'll see. Oh, I get netted of Amontoct. That's what happened. Okay, I did wonder what happened. Okay, so up here, got the spears, got the Black Ark Corsairs, got some Dark Shards. I thought these were Chameleon Skinks, so I committed a lot up here because it can be difficult to deal with them. So I wanted some armor, some shields, but it ended up just being skirmishes, so that's going to work out. Rakath is getting the break speed off him as he gets Carnosaur and Zlarked, and we're going to try to Tokyo Drift out of there, as Turin would say. So we've got our magic as well. I've tried to debuff Mazdamundi with melee defense, got the Word of Pain, got the Whip of Agony, and magic in the center, and kaboosh, Skink Cohort gone. Of course, it's just a chill wind, and they're just Skinks, but thought that was still pretty good damage. And this unit of Skinks kind of sneaks through, and I'm like, oh crap, he hasn't seen it yet. He's too busy microing other stuff. So I try to move the cost bros forward to screen, and I summon something to help. Yes, okay, I summoned the Blades of the Blood Queen. I said, that'll be fine up there. So I summoned the high quality to send up the center. I figure his infantry is all Skinks at this point, and the Blades of the Blood Queen are just going to eat it up for breakfast. So the damage onslaught continues. I finally start to get Rakath 3. We got the Carnosaur, of course. Oh, and the Juicy, I missed it. That was the Commodore Cassandora coming down on the Bolt Fiends. Absolute destruction. But I finally get Rakath 3, and I'm like, great, now I'm just going to kite and fight, baby. My Sorceress is just sitting there, just hoping that he doesn't notice me. And then, oh gosh, you know, keep the micro up, let's keep him drifting. Meanwhile, I've pushed through one unit of Saurus thanks to the spell cast, and not Saurus, Skinks, and I'm moving on to the next. But here comes the Saurus Scar Veteran, and he's going to beat the brakes off my Dark Sorceress. Not much I can do about it. Rakath is continuing to Tokyo Drift. I got some Harpies down here to try to stop the Skink Cohorts from preventing my Bolt Thrower from firing, and we are still getting some shots, but it's a bit how you going. And at this point, here comes the what do you call it, the Banishment. We got the Revivification Crystal. Gosh, I wish that was easier to say. And it's coming in to beat the brakes off some of my Black Ark Corsairs. And yeah, Mazdamundi's getting deep in the infantry fight, but we do have the Blades of the Blood Queen, which have Guardian, which confer a buff of defense to nearby units. And yeah, I'm not as great at micro as I'd like, and I stopped moving Rakath for a moment. Should have given him much more move orders than I did. And the Carnosaur catches up. And yeah, at this point I move some Dark Riders because no one's fighting for the third point, so I say fuck it, I'll just go over and try to capture it. I got these Dark Shards, Bolt Fiends shooting in on Mazdamundi. At this point I'm like, okay, well it's time to move the Blades of the Blood Queen into the skink fight or we'll lose the point. We've got to keep cutting through. And so more infantry is summoned. Over here, I managed to get the Dread Shards away, but I'm not firing yet because I'm just too busy trying to micro. Over here, I managed to chase away the Skink Skirmishers with my Black Ark Corsairs and use the Dread Spears to capture the point. I see that he summoned some Cold One Riders, and I think with them and the Skinks, there's no way I'm holding this high ground right now. So I'll move my Spears down the hill, try to just make sure I capture the second point, as we are not going to be capturing the 30, though, because once Rakarth flees off the field, and there he goes. And while he was fleeing, he was firing, so he was getting damage on the Carnosaur and other units. But yeah, right now they're chumping on my Dark Riders, and we're not going to hold that point. So I got units that have been fleeing coming back. We got some spears, we got some Bleak Swords, we got the Helleboroni coming in on the Scar Veteran. The Blades of the Blood Queen are still chopping through Skinks, and they'll be doing that all day. Here come the Dread Spears. And Mazdamundi, still on the field, but I've just dealt with all these Skinks finally, thanks to the continued efforts of the Harpies, so the Bolt Thrower is firing without impunity, and Mazdamundi's getting low. He's been using the Revivification Crystal off cooldown. Oh, and look at this. I see this spellcast, so I'm like, oh no, not today. I've been paying too much attention. So we dodged the Comet of Cassandor, and back in we go, and good ruination of cities there. The Bastiladon is getting shot at now by my Dark Shards, and the protection shield comes in, but I've got no magic for him. The Scar Veteran trying his best to cause havoc, gets on the Bolt Fiends, but the Helleboroni are sticking to him. And the Black Ark Corsairs are here. We got these Dark Spears back from running, and the Murderous Mastery or Murderous Prowess has activated. Murderous Mastery for units like the Blade of the Blood Queen, who get a very tasty buff. And there we go, finally we've taken the center. And we still hold the first one. My opponent has not elected to take advantage of his Skinks and capture it, which is okay. We've got these Black Ark Corsairs grinding through Skinks on their way to the third point. I think they'll do well. We do have some units scattered in the back that have routed off into high heavens, but that's okay. We still got the Bolt Thrower coming in on Mazdamundi. He's still alive for now, but he's definitely gotten value. This Carnosaur is also still causing problems. I've got cavalry on the high ground. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to shake down. This Scar Veteran still in the back. We're sending another unit of Black Ark Corsairs to continue just chewing through all the units over this side. So there's another banishment that's routed off these Dread Spears, so a lot of infantry loss, but a lot of hope. We got these Dark Riders I summoned to just hit the Skinks now that the cavalry's mostly dealt with. We've still got our range section online and firing. We've got spears nearby, and the Carnosaur is on the hunt looking for its next victim. But look at this, we got Mazdamundi basically dead, the Revivification Crystal basically dead, and the Shield Breaker, I think, may help in some capacity, I'm not sure. I think that's only just for missile block, which they don't have. Okay, never mind. In any case, looks like we're going to be taking here eventually, if I can just grind through all these units. So many dead units there. Here comes some more spears. We just summoned yet more spears. These Bolt Fiends are still firing. His Skinks are trying to chase off my routing spears, but yet more comes forward. Got some Bleak Swords here, just some of them because I needed some more infantry, so now I'm going to throw them as kind of a distraction as the Carnosaur decides that I'm not going to be casting any more magic this game. I've re-summoned her as well after she was destroyed, so that's the second time she's going to be routed off the field. Unfortunate. I just really wanted to get some magic going. At least I think that's the second time. Anyway, so this is a grind fight that's happening. We got some Legion of Chakwa, if that's how you pronounce it, and some Saurus Spears, so higher quality. We've got only the remnants of the Blades of the Blood Queen here that are still fighting, still chewing through. Look at them. Oh, and we do have the Dread Spears who will hold there for a time. We do have quite a few units of infantry coming up, and some Dark Riders here looking just to harass units in the back. Also, now that he unsummoned that Revivification Crystal, Mazdamundi is dead, or unsummoned. The Dark Riders come to hit the unit in the back, which always does good shock damage even for light cavalry, and the other damage you're looking at is the morale damage. I was hoping to kind of break them, although it's a big call as far as Saurus are concerned. They're such tanks. So that's not happening. Here come the Cold One Riders. Oh dear. And yeah, this Carnosaur is a problem. He's going to be meeting his end though, because I finally summoned them. I just wanted to make sure I was saturated with infantry, but now that I've got a bit of spare resources, I've summoned my Cold One Knights, which of course are anti-large. We've got a lot of spears on this boy, and we're going to seal his doom with the cavalry. So they come in, they're going to be trading pretty well. We can see on the high ground, Cold One Riders have been taking him, so understanding I didn't need 3 units of spears to destroy this Carnosaur, I send the Dread Spears to the high ground to deal with the cavalry. So we're going to try to retake that point. Over here, finally, these Black Ark Corsairs have slain all the skinks, and now they are ready to capture point 3. So that's happening in the center. We still hold it. We got this big wave of infantry coming with the Bleak Swords and the Helleboroni. We got these Dark Shards in the mix. They're getting currently Cold One Knighted, but we've sent in our own Cold One Knights, and it's a battle to see who does it better, who rides the cavalry the best. And yeah, looks like we've got the saturation here. The Cold One Riders are unsupported. They're poisoned by the Helleboroni, which is really underrated, I think, in this battle. Like, I haven't talked about it enough, but the Helleboroni really putting down the work, helping drag down bigger targets. And there they go. And here come the Saurus. We've got the Legion of Chakwa here, and they're still fighting, doing good work. We also got the Saurus Spears, but at this point, we've just taken the center. We've got the mass. Even though his infantry is pretty good quality, it's going to be hard to sort of take it out, unsummon that crossbow infantry that was there, just understanding it was going to be too hard. Catch the feral Carnosaur coming back from routing, and we just decided to pull out of combat and seal that deal. And yeah, the spears kind of were largely ignored by the cavalry, and now they are throwing themselves into the Helleboroni. But we've just dealt with the Carnosaur, and we can give them a flank charge with our Cold One Knights, who are going to ignore these Saurus Spears trying to shut them down. And we're going to just try to end his cavalry superiority. So this one unit getting a lot of work done. Now it's hitting up this Cold One Riders quite successfully. And given that he's abandoned this top point completely, we say, fair enough, you don't want to fight our spears. That's fine, our spears will just head up and take this point off you. There's been a few units here trying to harass me off this point, but it's been unsuccessful. His infantry remains to be the Legion of Chakra, which continue to fight well, and these Saurus Spears, who don't really have any good targets anymore. I've got some Harpies here just to sort of throw them at units that are coming in trying to support me, because he's got mostly Skinks coming in, and Harpies can trade reasonably well with them. So I'm just using them as a screen. This unit fled and has rallied, and he's now blocking up units as well as they come in. So I do some unsummoning. I resummon the Bolt Thrower, which is going to be shooting to just finish off some of those targets. And that's the battle. We won! Oh my lord! We're winning battles! And that was a really fun one, so let's have a look at the value breakdown. I felt like my opponent played pretty well. He got a lot of magic off. He shut down my magic and my lord. And despite that, the quality of the build came through. So let's have a look at some value. So Rakarth, only getting 820 gold value, and I think he costs something like 1,100. We'll have a look at the value maybe in a sec. And, you know, so not really paying for himself, but not exactly doing nothing either, you know. So I was reasonably happy with that. I felt like if I didn't commit him forward so hard and get net of Amontoct, then, you know, he could have done a lot more. Anyway, this magic as well, not getting a ton of value. Sadly, had that shut down pretty decisively. Was planning on chill winding all game, just the different units, but I just wasn't on top of it. There was a lot going on, and sadly I failed with that. But what my opponent was unable to deal with was my ranged. And so look at this, almost 2,000 gold worth of value on this unit. Dark Shards, I mean the Bolt Fiends. What do they cost? Something like 800, less 650 maybe? So much value there, so good. Also, the Reaper Bolt Throwers getting 1,800 value. They only cost 700, so immense value there from that. 3 chevrons worth of experience. And then we've got these Black Ark Corsairs, who all did very well, mostly skiing components, and they trade reasonably well with Saurus as well, especially when they're the spear variant. So these are Dark Shards doing reasonably well, and then the spear, of course, getting solid value across the board. As far as reinforcements were concerned, we got the the Blades of the Blood Queen, such a high quality unit, and again, paying for themselves with change. You know, for 1500 to summon, 1800 value gained. So we're happy enough with that. And then we did summon the one Cold One Knights, and coming in at a crucial time, able to deal over their value as well. The Hellbrone also, look at this, 1200 value, super sick, very slick. Dark Riders, of course, doing well at cleanup. Harpies as well, trading okay with the Skinks, but not brilliantly. But it was great to be able to just throw a unit out there and just hold something up or deal with something harassing my ranged, and that was fun. So I liked the Harpies as well. As far as the other parts of the build, you know, 2 units of Cold One Knights, very hard to bring both. If I didn't want to summon the Blood Queen, if he brought too much large targets, then having the second one would have been good. I think 3 in the reinforcements is indeed too much. Witch Elves, an interesting play because you can rampage stuff and sort of overcommit it. Didn't end up finding a space for it in this battle. Don't know that it's a good pick. Maybe would throw maybe another Bolt Thrower instead for roughly the same cost. Something like that. Anyway, from my opponent, really quickly, 3,000 value on Master Mundi. What a champ, even though we were shooting him down all game. Just a huge problem. Carnosaur also getting 2,000 value, which I believe is quite a good profit of value as well. The Reviv Crystal didn't really seem to have too huge an impact. Yes, it kept Master Mundi alive for quite a while. He got a couple of casts off on him, but I don't know. Just sort of felt very low impact for its price point. It did get nerfed. It was really powerful just not too long ago in the pre-patch to Immortal Empires for the content creators. Anyway, it's not that strong anymore. The Skinks, of course, not doing very well against the Dark Elf grind, but not doing terribly. Like, they held reasonably well. You know, the Scar Veteran didn't really get too much done. He did his job. He shut down my magic, but other than that, he was kind of a bit useless. Yeah, and the Saurus, of course, getting good value. Except the Cavalry. Cavalry, I was able to shut down pretty handily. Yeah. Chameleon Skinks, only 1 unit. I felt like he could have maybe brought a couple more of these. You know, if he's going to skirmish with me, he should have committed to it properly instead of going with the cheaper Skink route most of the time. That didn't seem to have any impact on stopping my advance. Whereas the Chameleon Skinks would, with the poison. Don't underestimate the poison. Look at the Hellbrone value. Alright, that's the battle. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.